But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna watch them if they come out. Poppy Playtime I know is popular on YouTube. It's more of a horror one. Talking Tom. He's coughing.
Sorry, Talking Tom.
Talking Tom is supposed to get a movie.
The little squeaky thing that I would talk to as a kid.
Yeah. Talking Tom. I don't know how that's gonna work. That's the whole point of that is interacting with the video game as a human.
I'm still dying, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we can't hear you.
Hello there.
Don't have a good day. Have a great day.
Talk to me, Goose.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Why so serious?
World! I could do this all day.
Are you watching closely?
And then I said, that's not a camel. That's my wife.
Oh, man. Oh.
I'm just in a giggly mood.
That's good. That was the best joke I've ever heard.
Anyways, welcome back, guys. Sorry you missed the first part.
Yeah, too bad. So sad. Off-topic topics. Are you sick?
I am indeed sick. I went to the health center, and he says that it's most likely just a common cold, but if I keep symptoms for like the next 3 days, I have to go back because it could possibly be a fungal infection while I was cleaning out houses.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
In North Carolina. So he said it was like some 6-syllable word, and I'm on a strict 3-syllable diet. I have no idea what word it was. Numbers guy, most numbers have like max 2 syllables.
I know numbers don't have syllables, at least as a as a string of numbers and statistics and data and whatever.
I mean, 100, 1,000, million. I don't million. I don't know how syllables work. All I know is that doctor sounded really smart. It made me really scared.
So you could be dying, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Something 6-syllable word. Like I remember having him count it out with me in the doctor's room. I'm like, hang on.
Do the
say
clapping.
that again really slowly. Yeah. I was basically applauding him for being smart at that point.
Yeah.
Basically, he said if I'm continue to be sick, it could get worse because it's like some sort of hidden symptom because it's a smart sickness that it'll hide its symptoms for a little bit and then it'll show itself back up again after I've been healed or whatever. To anybody listening to this who knows, if you put this in, to anybody listening, if you know what it is, great. I still don't, and he told me.
You know what the hard part is that this episode comes out a week after we're recording this. And so...
Yeah, I could be dead.
If you go either way, you could be dead in a week. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
It could go one way or the other. Either he'll be asymptomatic or he'll be dead.
If I'm dead, you have full permission to cut to the funeral for this, for the joke.
It's like he could be dead. The organs.
Yeah. POV Seth walking me down the aisle, but not as a wife, but as
a pallbearer.
Yeah.
No. That's so sad. I don't want you to die. I don't think I'm not die.
I'm not gonna die. But if I did, Seth, you have full permission to make memes about it for popularity.
Wait, am I gonna be the only pallbearer? Is that what I'm hearing you saying? You think I'm that strong to just one arm a casket?
Good luck. This meal plan will make that quite difficult to do it alone.
Well, when you're sick, you might have the time to play video games.
Yes, I
Is
do.
that a good transition?
That's a great transition. I've had so much time to play video games. I've dabbled in so many in the past 2 days.
Really? I assume school was kicking your butt.
I kind of am just letting it kick my butt for a little bit because there's a few assignments that I could do, but I'm just choosing not to because they aren't worth enough points.
It's one thing to know that school is kicking your butt, and it's another to just not do anything about it.
Let it. Yeah. So when you're letting school kick your butt, what do? You play video games. What else might you do? You might watch movies. Why not both?
Why not both?
One screen video games, the other screen movie.
Second screen or third screen
Instagram Reels, and you're scrolling with your foot.
With Subway Surfer underneath all of it. No. It's all just a major dopamine hit. 24/7 overload.
I don't know why I'm so depressed.
Actually, really quick on that note, like a way to combine more than what we're going to talk about today with video games turned into movies or TV shows. I like the few pieces of media out there that are choose your own adventure movies. The ones that directly come to mind are Heist with Markiplier, and his second one, which was In Space with Markiplier, where they're produced shorts. They're like 3 minutes long. And then at the end, it has little annotations for next video, but it's really the choose your own adventure to go to the next, to make your own decisions, but you're watching a movie. So I think that's really fun. I've done both of those. They're really fun.
Yeah, I think of other like full-on video games that have adapted this and made them fully customizable, like Detroit Become Human, even the D&D game Baldur's Gate. I will try to not die into the mic.
I need to cut around all your coughing this when I'm editing.
I will do my best.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I think of video games like Detroit Become Human, the D&D game Baldur's Gate, Skyrim for a little bit. It's not as customizable as you think, but then I remember quite a few from my childhood that like were straight up movies, but you used your remote to make a selection. I cannot for the life of me tell you what the names of them are.
Okay, you're talking about those video games that aren't combat related or strategy, or maybe it's a little strategy, but it's really a multiple choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that that's how Detroit Become Human was. I thought maybe it was an open world.
No, it's full story. I would highly recommend it. It is super, super fun. There's literally like 60 different endings that you can, and none of it is, I guess a little bit of it is skill-based because there's quick time events that you have to succeed, but even those are a choice in and of itself. Like you could have a character live when you lose a quick time event. Like it's like fully choice-based.
Are there difficulties to those quick time events where you could like if you really need to spam a button or something? Like I know that spamming buttons is like in one way it's a something that people like to beat is like the fastest button spammer or something, but I don't know if there's any difficulties because I'm playing, or I have been, I haven't picked it up recently, but Spider-Man video game, then there's quick time events in there, or like a takedown or something, but they could be done by a kid. I don't know if you can turn up the difficulty for those, and you really struggle to get to complete it.
Yeah, I think in Detroit Become Human, it's just that's the one I'm thinking of. It's just one difficulty fits all, but you can toggle the quick time events to stop, like basically just straight up let you decide whether or not you want to succeed, rather than making it I have to try and succeed or I have to try to fail. So I know quite a few things do that.
I just was curious about button mashing. People who have that skills maybe would want more of a challenge, to actually, because it's not really that hard to do.
Have you seen Ludwig Agren?
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
That's the person I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, and think of the the Mario Party game where you're smacking the spiky coconuts. That's a good button mashing one, too. or the wind up. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But we're done talking about video games we played. We did that in a different episode, kind of. That one was more like how video game stories were told. That was actually just over a year ago. That's crazy. But we wanted to talk about video game adaptations into movies, sometimes TV shows, touch on TV shows. That's been more of a modern thing, changing it into TV shows. But we actually did talk about that episode because that was before Last of Us came out, I think. Or that one was after, I don't remember now. We did have a episode where we talked about video games before The Last of Us, and we were talking about how TV shows lend themselves better to video game stories than movies do because you can go so much longer with the story that, it takes 40, 50, 100 hours to play through. And now you don't necessarily have that much time with a TV show, but you have more than 2.5 hours. So that's the way that we saw it. And I think that's kind of becoming the new thing. Some of the TV shows I have listed are Halo, obviously Last of Us. Arcane is technically an adaptation, but in a different way. We'll get to that. Anyways, that's kind of our thesis, but we'll get right into... I wrote down a lot of the main video games that have been adapted in recent years. I'm going to kind of go from chronological order, but there's also kind of themes as we go, and I labeled it the good, bad, and the ugly, and we kind of started with the ugly. The first one that comes to mind is Super Mario Bros. Live.
Yep. Wait, live? Like with a real actor or the animated one with Chris Pratt?
1993.
What?
Super Mario Bros. With John Leguizamo as Luigi and Bob Hoskins as Mario. And apparently Mario is also their last name. So it was Mario and Luigi Mario. Or this website is wrong.
What?
You apparently don't know about this.
What is the...
You would not recognize... Why? I know. You would not recognize a lot of the characters from this movie. Because they are not the same characters. The most is that Luigi and Mario have red and green suits. I think Princess Peach is pink, but of course she is. I need to show you...
Is it the one with the tiny head?
Yep. It's the little tiny head.
Quick Google images showed me that. That's borderline horror.
Well, that's something that immediately people hated. And we thought, I've seen some video essays that just say, this is the end. People thought that this was the end. You should never do this. Koopa it's President Koopa or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Toad, actually.
Oh.
No, wait, it's a Goomba. Gosh, I'm so confused.
One question. Why?
I don't know.
Who's took creative control there? Because they should not have been given control. In the nicest way possible. I'm sure they had so much fun on set. I'm sure it was this is going to be great. I'm sure they were really confident with it. But there's quite a few things where it's it just doesn't work. That is the ugly. The ugly.
Yeah. Of the good, the bad, and the ugly, that is ugly.
Question. Do you think the new Minecraft movie that is coming out, do you think that's falling under ugly?
We were going to save that for the end, I thought.
Oh, okay. Are we? Okay.
But yes, it all falls under the same story. But yes, it was basically the writers were on mushrooms because the movie looked like you were on mushrooms. it was just so nonsensical. And I don't even think they were trying to adapt the live action or the video game. And I think it was one of those where they took the essence of the character, the names, and made a completely different story. Even though I still think that I don't know, I haven't watched it, but it might still be the saving princess from Bowser. But again, Koopa is not supposed to be a human. The Toad isn't supposed to look like that, or the Goomba, or whatever he actually is. So that happened in the early 90s. People thought, oh, this never make another live action video game movie again. But they kept going, of course. They even went with the the well-known ones. Resident Evil, Lara Croft, Mortal Kombat had adaptations right away. And I think those were some of the biggest video games at the time in the early 90s. Resident Evil is one of those that no one has really ever adapted well, I don't think.
Lara Croft did pretty good, although it's kind of hard because Lara Croft is a very basic story, and it's just kind of...
You talking video game or movie?
Both. I think they were both good. Like the Lara Croft movie, I enjoyed.
Oh, you're just saying the franchise?
Yeah.
Which one? Which movie?
Well, I watched an old one. It was like a early 2000.
There's Tomb Raider, which came out in 2018. Lara Croft Tomb Raider was 2001. That was Angelina Jolie.
That's the one that I watched.
And then the sequel was Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. That was in 2003. And then Tomb Raider with Alicia Vikander was 2018. I remember seeing trailers for that.
I watched the 2001 one with Angelina Jolie.
Sure.
That one was pretty good.
Did you ever play the games?
I never did, so I guess I don't have a huge say in it, but I have I've played like 3 hours of one of them, and it was a lot of puzzles, and I don't like puzzles because P-Brain Josh can't handle puzzles, so I quit.
Sure.
And I played Uncharted instead, which was also a little bit of puzzles, but it was a little bit more action-based.
Let's say there's not much of a difference.
It was a little bit more action than Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I don't know anything more than the story. Yeah, it's female Indiana Jones. She knows how to fight, whatever. But yeah, I can't speak too much on that. Mortal Kombat is also a popular one. That one got a recent reboot that was well received. Again, don't have anything to compare it to. But early on, there were other versions, along with Resident Evil and Lara Croft, that had, they were neutral. They weren't amazing. Then we kind of got into the early 2000s where video games really started taking off and very different stories were being told. And therefore you got adaptations of those video games like Hitman, Agent 47, Warcraft, Assassin's Creed. Yep. Did you ever watch Assassin's Creed? I feel like that one, I know you've played the game, so I don't know if you have that comparison.
Yeah, I did watch the movie, and this is going to sound really harsh, but I just straight up turned it off because I got bored of it. It wasn't a very good movie, like at all.
Objectively, or compared to the game?
Compared to the game, I'd say 6 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10. A little bit meh. And then objectively, like as a movie, also still just wasn't that great. All around, maybe 4 or 5 out of 10. Not that great. But it wasn't like a, man, this is horrible. It's just a, man, it just is. That's all it gets. It doesn't.
It just is.
I don't know.
Michael Fassbender is the assassin Creeding. No, Callum or whatever his name is. Jeremy Irons is in it too.
Aren't they coming out with a Borderlands too?
Oh, they already did.
Have you seen it?
Okay, we're not there yet.
Sorry.
We're walking chronologically.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so Assassin's Creed wasn't that great. Hitman, Agent 47. I know the Hitman series is beloved by many still, as in like trying to figure out fastest ways to do it, best ways to do it, do the missions. Like I kind of want to get one of those games.
Strong fan base.
Yes, but also I don't think I think there were 2 movies and those didn't do well. Warcraft, I don't really know how you adapt that because isn't that like maybe I'm thinking of the wrong craft. There's a lot of craft games. I don't know what the Warcraft video game looks like. Oh, is it an open world? It looks. I feel like that's one. When you get into the mystical video games that you really have a lot of lore to deal with and a lot of story, kind of like Arcane.
Yeah.
And you can either adapt the specific source material or do what Arcane did and kind of adapt the lore. I don't know which way Warcraft took. Again, I'm just listing these, and our listeners can go talk about it in our Discord server because they're probably more attuned to what was good and what was not. But again, I think this first section was really the ugly, like they're still finding their ground. Or I suppose, let me rephrase that. I think Super Mario Bros. 1993 was the ugly. The bad was kind of the early 2000s. Again, you can like these movies if you want, but I don't think they were generally well received. But I think when we start getting good was actually Detective Pikachu or Angry Birds. I think those came out the same year, and those were well received. Partly, I would say, because Angry Birds was sort of a Minion style, slapstick, off the wall, goofy.
Knew its audience.
And Angry Birds didn't really have a story to develop other than, the pigs steal the eggs of the birds and the birds get angry and they come at it. That makes sense. Detective Pikachu was inspired by, a run of Pokemon called Detective Pikachu, but I don't know that there was a ton of story behind that part of the video game. And it was a chance to do like a, sleuthing version of Pikachu that included Ryan Reynolds and brought Pokemon to life. Like, that was really a fun part of that for Pokemon fans to see, like, live action Pokemon. All right, so for those of you who haven't been, not that you haven't been listening, I just cut it all out. Josh's mic sounds different because he had to change mics because his wireless one died.
Yeah. Yep. That one's a little bit more convenient for me. But we're going with the old headset that has to do the fancy trick where you put the cord in a very specific spot in order for you to be able to hear through both ears. It's really disorienting when you're only... sounds like you're whispering in my left ear, but...
This is actually how Josh usually sounds. Like, I like this, Josh. This headset is your usual sound, and I don't mind it. It's just hard for you in your headphones.
Yeah. I gotta get like an actual mic, because this I got to be able to make ads and stuff for my t-shirt company, which I still have yet to do. But
is that the one that you plug into the bottom of the phone?
Yeah, it's super, super convenient.
And pretty cheap, I'm just gonna say.
It actually works great. $15.
And I bet it acts like it costs $15.
Bauer. Sponsor us.
I would like to say that the co-host views are not my own views of how I would like to direct this podcast, and I don't want to actually...
Okay, if we're going to get sponsorship from any mic, it's going to be Michael Iliff and not any actual one of these mics. But
wait, so your girlfriend is going to sponsor us?
She already does. She watches like every other episode.
Every other?
She's every other. Well, because she only watches the ones I'm in.
I see how it is.
So if we want more views, I just gotta be in more episodes. No, that's not how this works.
Technically, by the standard you set, we would get one more view per every other episode, which overall is technically half a view more when you split it up between, the episodes you're in versus what you're not. Get a half a view per episode. No, wait, that's not right. Because she's already listening to every other.
I have statistics with me.
We were just talking about Detective Pikachu, I think.
Yep. I just wanted to make sure that it was apparent. Like, we know Pokemon originally came from the TV show, like the old cartoon. But, like, everyone knows Pokemon Go. So this is to everyone who is a Pokemon fan. I'm so sorry. But a good chunk of the generation first interacted with Pokemon Go. And I remember when the Detective Pikachu came out, it was, oh my goodness, I can't believe they made Pokemon Go into a movie. I kid you not. And then I first interacted with Pokemon from the DS games. I remember I would play with that all the time. And then I got Pokemon Gold and played that. But so in my mind, it comes from a video game, but I know that it stems originally from the TV show. So just disclaimer.
Yes.
I am a fan.
I have never played a single Pokemon game, and I will die on that hill for the sake of saying that I've never played a Pokemon game is the only reason.
Yep. I think you will get more enjoyment out of saying that.
Yeah. It's not necessarily something that I think is bad or I'm avoiding. I don't care. I don't care for that stuff. I've never been a fan of like the mystical, deep lore, FNAF or even Lord of the Rings sometimes loses me. I'm just like, yes, I can appreciate that there's lore and there's fans that appreciate it, but I care that much. I just want to get the main story and be done. Move on.
Yep.
But you bring up another point about the old. I don't know if they were. I feel like it'd be a Japanese TV show that was either dubbed or then made as an American TV show. But a lot of these video games actually have been made in Japanese versions, live action even. If you look on the Wikipedia page, which is where I got most of this list from, there's a whole, probably the bottom half to 2/3 even are just Japanese adaptations of these video games that are popular. Like, we would recognize them. Some of them are, just in the Japanese circle. They made the video game, they made the movie. We wouldn't know about it. But some of them are like, I think they made Assassin's Creed stuff. And like, we never saw it because sometimes that stuff just gets lost when coming and streaming in America or whatever. But we're really talking about the American ones, just to be clear. And I would be probably pretty interested. But also there's usually the really good international movies make waves on our continent. You'd hear about it just because it's just that good. Maybe they are pretty good, but we didn't hear about it. But we were talking about Detective Pikachu and Angry Birds, and then soon after, Sonic the Hedgehog came out.
Yep.
And I should say the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer came out. And this is... I am still...
That was history.
It was history. And I'm still a part of the view that they planned to make a bad Sonic. That they had the current Sonic that we have in Sonic 3 actually planned from the start. And they just got so many eyes on them for making a bad Sonic. I think that's what happened because...
It has to.
I don't think any other situation has had the fans bullying the studio into changing it. Because there's been plenty of backlash for many different movies. And I think that was what was so interesting about when we were talking about Minecraft. Are they going to change stuff? And I pointed out in the Minecraft Live recently, they didn't show any animals. So they had the trailer come out, and we'll intersperse some Minecraft stuff here. They had the trailer come out, backlash against it. They had Minecraft Live. They had some behind-the-scenes look at the movie. And all they did was show filming on set and a clip of just the actors of Jack Black and Jason Momoa and the other kid. What they didn't have is any animals. My theory is that they're working on them. And if that's the case, then I'm more inclined to believe that Sonic was an actual situation of the fan base bullying the studio. But I still think that they knew that it was bad. But also studios don't often think things are bad. Part of me just wants to be a contrarian and say that they knew all along. But regardless, Sonic was a hit. I still want to see it because it actually looks fun. I know nothing about the Sonic games. Again, I don't know that much about video game lore, but the Sonic games had an interesting, like, they also have lore, but not deep lore. It's just more like Knuckles is an enemy and then he's a friend. And then is it Tails? Is Tails the orange one?
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
And then Tails is just Sonic's buddy, and then Shadow's like the really bad guy, and then you got Eggman and or Robotnik. Which one's which? Is there a difference?
This is really throwback because I never grew up on the old Sega like Sonic games. What I grew up was what was it? Sonic and the Black Knight or something like that. I should Google it. But I remember I put so many hours into that game. I kid you, like as a kid. Sonic and the Black Knight.
While you look that up, I need to say that whoever knows the difference between Eggman and Dr. Robotnik needs to tell me because they look the same to me. And I know somebody's seething right now that I'm saying that, but I could not. Like, yes, there's a few differences. Like, one has goggles or whatever, but they have the same mustache. Like, in character design, you don't want to make those characters too similar. So unless there's actually some correlation, somebody needs to explain it to me because I'm confuzzled.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. Huge throwback looking at this. Holy crap. That's...
The Black Knight? What is it?
Sonic and the Black Knight. I played so much of this. I think it's... Okay. I understand it's still a Sonic game, but it is such a cool art style. I love the way that they put armor on Sonic. I love the medieval times. I think making Arthur the bad guy and then making Sonic be like the sword and the stone dude, and then making Excalibur like talk and have him, oh my word, the bit of a sidetrack here. Great game, great game, man.
Yeah.
It's still like a Sidewinder game because you're just running, but oh my word. Anyways,
so you're really this is one of the first ones that have experience with.
Yep. That is one of the very first games I've ever played. Like, other than the super typical Mario Kart or even the Pokemon on the DS that I found in my closet one time because my sister had one from a friend. Like, that was the first game that I had ever stopped at a pawn shop because I didn't get games full price. We stopped at a pawn shop. I saw that and I'm like, that looks good. I picked it up and I played that game to the end. I knew every nook and cranny of that game because it was the only one I had. Oh, wow. That brought me back. Holy cow.
I was watching a quick playthrough video, and it looks like a good Sonic game, as in, like, you have quick movement and he's running, and yes, it doesn't make sense that there's just lines of whatever, guards or barriers if you're taking it literally, but it doesn't matter. It's a video game, and so he's got to go fast, and he's got a sword, which is the point of the Black Knight specifically, and then he's chopping it up. Like, that's cool. That's a good concept for a game, and executed well, I think.
It was well made for little 8-year-old Josh, 7 or 8-year-old, I don't know. Young Josh loved that game. Hack and slash, just sitting there with my little Wii controller going nuts left and right. And then they made it into a movie. That's the Sonic they made into a movie.
Did you watch the movie?
I did watch the movie. I watched the first and second one.
Third one's coming out still.
Yeah, I obviously haven't watched the third one, but I don't know. They were well made. Like, no complaints. It was definitely a more childish type movie. It was made for the same ages that the Sonic games were made. But I think the accidental audience was the people that grew up on the old Sonic games that ended up kind of trashing it just a little bit, but not that bad.
For sure. Well, they trash it because it's beloved to them. Like, that's understandable. They want it to be good. And yeah, part of your audience is the young people who play Sonic games or watch the little cute Sonic TV show, or the people who grew up with it, and it's near and dear to them, and they've loved it. That fan base has loved it. And I think what's especially funny about the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise is that Jim Carrey keeps coming out of retirement to play Dr. Robotnik,
because he loves it.
Yeah, but we won't declare that he loves it. But consider this. Jim Carrey was in The Bad Batch, and I don't think that's not the Star Wars. It's a different Bad Batch. He was the Hermit. And then he was in Dark Crimes, which was kind of his last big one. It is one. Oh, I didn't know this. It's one of the worst reviewed films of 2018, holding a 0% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But I was curious to see it only because it's Jim Carrey in like a gritty. He's not in a comedy role like he was in Bruce Almighty or The Truman Show or Ace Ventura or whatever. It's usually his role, and that's kind of the role he plays in Sonic. But think about it. It's been 8 years since his last, besides Sonic movie. And he's come back for 3 Sonics. Like, he can do it. He's very capable. It's just funny to me.
Then we move on to a different... Okay, so we had Sonic and we had Detective Pikachu that were like, they were good. They were good, but they weren't quite great. And I think that's when we have to start getting into, like, the why TV show adaptations for video games have just been objectively better. I'm now starting to think of The Last of Us, Arcane, The Fallout series, which I haven't watched, so I don't want to speak too much on that.
I forgot about the Fallout, but yes.
I haven't seen the Fallout series. It works really well for Detective Pikachu and Sonic because those are them taking the characters and putting them into the world and then giving them a story. Because they don't have a ton of story prior to that. Obviously, Detective Pikachu has tons of story because it's Pikachu and it's the old Pokemon TV show with like over 1,000 episodes of content. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Detective Pikachu, which is different. But because video games just have so much content, I just finished playing a video game and it took me 150 hours to complete. I've been playing it for the past 5 months and it's taken me quite a while. Obviously with tons of Fortnite breaks, I have completed this game. It took me forever. Now you're trying to take those 150 hours and you're trying to put them into story. Now I'm thinking of it for those who are curious on what game. I'm thinking of Elden Ring. Okay. Also, I heard they're making an Elden Ring adaptation. They want to make a TV show. Miyazaki, the director of the game, wants to make a TV show, which I think would be great because the lore in Elden Ring is immaculate. It's some of the best lore ever. But it has to be a TV show because there's so much time in the game that you're trying to condense down to a movie. It worked for Pikachu and Sonic because that's just how those characters are. But when you get into the idea, like Fallout is a very long game. It takes you like 30 hours to complete. You can't squish 30 hours of content into a 2-hour movie, so they make it a TV show so they can extend the storyline. So that's why TV shows are the better way. But how do you think they did overall? Like, in general, how do you think TV show adaptations of video games have done so far?
I think they work better, but I would say the same audience that is going to be interested in those adaptations are going to be the ones either that have all of the streaming services or are frustrated that they have to get another streaming service. You could divide your fan base that way. So that's why I think having something like Fallout be on Prime was a good win for them. And the Halo show probably, I think it's on Paramount, but that might be one reason why it didn't do so well is because Paramount is still probably a B-tier streaming service compared to Disney, Netflix, and Prime. And even just contemplating Prime Video as a companion to Prime service of Prime Music and Prime Delivery, like all of those. You get such a great deal for Prime. Not saying that all the shows on there are great, but could be one reason why people want to get on Prime is because...
Sponsor us.
Are you just trying to get us sponsors all the time? Like, just anytime I bring up any company, you're like, sponsor us.
We went through a sponsorship of like marketing content in one of my classes, so it's quite towards the front of my brain. I apologize.
Sure.
But we don't want sponsorships. We're already sponsored by the Lord.
I like a sponsorship.
Oh, you would? Okay, yeah. Then I would too.
Remember the views of our co-hosts do not reflect the One-Eyed Film Podcast integrity or my views as the leader of the podcast or whatever. I would love a sponsor, but I think I do the same thing whenever I talk about one person or a group of people, a small group of people. Like Zach's probably more into the joke where he's like, have them on the podcast. Like I say that I'm working on a movie with that features Kevin Sorbo, and he's like, we could have Kevin Sorbo on the podcast. I'm like, no, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that TV shows are the way to go for video game adaptations that are extensive. There is a lot to pack into a movie. I'm looking at the rest of the ones on my list. FNAF kind of works. Even though I don't think it was executed in the movie well, it's still such a simple concept. When you have a simple concept and a long game, that probably adapts better because you can take that simple concept and make it it's more of a filling the space. Like you need to fill 2 hours instead of condensing it. Whereas something like Uncharted probably needed to be a TV show or needed to be done well so that they could make more movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, FNAF is a simple concept. Minecraft is a simple concept. I don't think I think about story mode for Minecraft, but I don't think you can really do a TV show of Minecraft. Story mode is not Minecraft. Like I've argued for Minecraft being the Minecraft story being just an adaptation of story mode, but I think I meant that more in the sense of they should be characters in the world of Minecraft, not the Jumanji style that it looks like we're getting. I think Minecraft is a simple concept and can be explored in a 2-hour movie. Another one I'm going to bring up later is Iron Lung. It's a very indie game that Markiplier played and is now making into a movie. That's a simple concept with a lot of lore packed behind it that can be developed into a 2-hour movie, and that's what they're doing. But I don't think that things like Borderlands or Uncharted or Mortal Kombat can always be compacted into a movie. Again, I was about to talk about Mortal Kombat, the new one, and I don't know how well the lore did with that one, or how well that one did with the lore. It might not be a consistent rule even. It could just be how it's handled. And yet I think that the TV shows are better at doing that because most games are a long playthrough. I think of our most favorite game right now, Fortnite. And I think that that's technically, yes, there's a lot of lore over multiple chapters and seasons and 7 years of the game being around, but it's more of the concept of the loop and how to escape it, or the constant, it'd be like a Groundhog Day type of movie where you keep doing the same thing, not necessarily the exact same thing, but you load in, you drop, you fight, and then you respawn in a different game. Like that would make sense for a video game. And I actually think, not that I'm just saying Fortnite is the best option to use that for, and maybe Call of Duty is or whatever. I think that that's a cool concept to mix a battle movie or a battle story with a Groundhog Day. And I think, now that I'm saying that out loud, that's just the Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise movie that goes by many names. Edge of Tomorrow, I think.
Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, it's both of those. It's both of those. They rebranded in the middle of marketing, and that was a terrible decision. I've seen so many stories about that. But I think that's different. And part of me just wants to see a Fortnite movie, but also, whatever. I'm not going to push it that hard.
I'd watch.
But you would. My point is, I think that could be a movie, not a TV show. Minecraft probably shouldn't be a TV show. FNAF probably couldn't be a TV show. FNAF especially. It's got one premise. Like, yes, there's more lore and different locations and whatever. It's not that different. Like, it really should be a one movie and done type of thing. With that being said, I'm interested to see where FNAF 2 goes whenever they develop that next. If anything, I was going to move on to Halo.
I actually haven't seen Halo.
You just got...
Sorry. I tried to mute myself, but I didn't reach it in time.
Do that right in the mouth.
Oh.
Okay, so I was going to bring up the Halo show because that was another situation where people really didn't like it. And one of the big reasons was that they took off Master Chief's helmet. And I don't know if you've played any Halo. That was kind of my era, a couple years older than you. Played Red v Blue and all that. I've only played a few games with my friends in college. But I still understand the lore of Halo and the fact that Master Chief is supposed to be a faceless character so that it's like Spider-Man. Anyone can wear the mask. And the fact that, I think it was in the first episode, he took his helmet off. And people are like, you really did not study at all. Like, you don't get this. You don't know what you're adapting at all. And I agree with them. I think that should be something that you have deep respect for and try and adapt well. And even if you can't get something as simple as that, nothing else matters because that's the only thing they're thinking about.
I think making sure you understand the rules of the game helps the TV show a ton. Like, one of the rules of Halo was you don't take off the mask.
I just lost the game.
Frick, so did I.
I know. And so did everyone else listening. But the moment you said play the game, I thought of playing the game.
We lost. Man,
Hey,
Anyways.
anyone listening? Text your friends that they lost the game. We'll make the whole world lose the game, and it came from the One Eyed Phil podcast. No. Wait, don't just text your friends you lost the game. Text them that clip specifically. Just say start at this timestamp and send it to them so that they lose the game and listen to the podcast.
And then curiosity is going to kill them.
I know. That's marketing, Josh. You got to learn from me. That one with the degree in animation.
Yeah, Halo. Like, when you make an adaptation of a game, you have to understand the rules of the game. And the rules of Halo was Master Chief doesn't take off his helmet. He has super, super awesome vibes coming around him because he's literally in a multi-billion-dollar suit that he can't take the helmet off of. He is him in the show. He's the coolest guy. Everyone wants to be him. Halo didn't quite deliver on that. They made him cool, but I haven't seen the show, so I can't say it with a ton of certainty, but it was also supposed to be like, I could be Master Chief sort of thing. Not everyone could be Master Chief because now it's this person. They completely ruined the whole idea of Halo, of like you going through this whole adventure, destroying a ton of these aliens, and you're like, hey, this is me. I'm Master Chief. I have a really deep, grovelly voice. I could do that.
Yeah, now everyone just sees Pablo Schrebler as Master Chief.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for a ton of future game adaptations, like I think they could do this for Minecraft, and it could be awesome. Like you need to understand the rules of the game. Like Minecraft there is no rules. There's floating blocks everywhere. You could chuck a piece of water underneath you going 100 miles an hour, and you wouldn't take any damage at all. I think they could play into that, and it would be so funny, and it would be so clever, and it would work really, really well. Whether it be potions making them jump high or whatever, but they need to make it look like it could do that. Because when you make just some random person jump really, really high, CGI-wise, and just like Uncanny Valley-wise, it's just not going to work. They need to make the game physics transfer into movie physics. And I think they also need to do that for Borderlands too. Like the style of Borderlands is very rough edges and almost like an odd art style. I think they need to try and adapt that into the show. Like they need to make it feel like it's being looked at through a filter, because that's what the original vibes of Borderland are. You need to keep like the identifying features of the game, and you need to put it into the show. The identifying feature of Halo was Master Chief and him not taking his helmet off, and like his character. The identifying features of Minecraft is how creative you can be in some of the absurd physics. Borderlands is the very awesome art style, and I haven't played Borderlands in forever, and I also don't know the story that well, so I can't speak much on the story. But I do know that there's like a lot of like crazy character development, like crazy character, like Joker type thing in the game that people like to see. I also think of The Last of Us. Like the main dynamic was Joel and Ellie, and they delivered on that. They did a great job. So like that was the main point. So they kept the essence of the game in the show, and that's why the show was good, because it transferred that well. Now, I have tons of quarrels with The Last of Us, don't get me wrong, but objectively it was still quite good because of the way that they were able to transfer the essence of the game into the show.
Yeah. And about Arcane, I'd never played League of Legends, and I intend to run far away from that because I don't want to be a low player. But I don't think Arcane really, or I don't think League of Legends really has a main character. It's kind of your champion, the one you choose. And so in that case, they just picked Vi and Jinx and ran with it. Maybe Vi and Jinx are main characters. Tell me if I'm wrong. But still, they set them as their main characters in Arcane. They still brought a lot of other characters in. They're going to bring way more in season 2. And they're still doing justice to the story. Even a lot of the moves in the fight don't make a lot of sense unless you know that it's their final or their finishing move or something in the video game, which is cool, but you didn't need to know that. And I think that's why I respect Arcane so much, is that you learn later that it's a video game adaptation. You don't need to know that. Gosh, I'm excited to get the Nolan Bros on the Arcane Part 3 episode, because Zach is now into Arcane, and I can't wait to talk about it more. Yeah. Back to Borderlands. We had a few more before that, but I wanted to share this with you because I don't think you realize Borderlands is not good. People said that it's one of the worst movies of 2023, except that Madam Web came out this year. And
oh, wow.
So I'm just telling you now. I don't know that you've caught up with the news, but Borderlands is not good. I have yet to see it.
I didn't watch it. I also haven't played the games.
I've never played the games either, but it does. One thing I thought about in the 2024 predictions episode was if they were going to do the same style, and they did not. They just did how they looked without like the cell shading, and that was disappointing. But then again, I don't think you can do live action. Again, what's the difference between a cutscene and splice together cutscenes to make the story versus a live action? And I don't think if they started doing the cell shading, they might as well just do full cutscenes in a movie form, like they would do for Lego Batman, and then you could just watch the full Lego not the Warner Bros. Lego Batman, but the TT Games. You could watch the full movie of Lego Batman 2 or whatever. Sorry to break it to you, Borderlands is not good.
I hadn't watched it. I didn't know. I just knew that. I knew it didn't do great. I didn't know it did that bad, but I do know that they kind of lost some of the game feeling and like what made Borderlands good when they took away the art style and they took away some of the like the key character development times. Or I heard someone else talking about this while I was waiting for class to start one time. They were talking about the Borderlands movie. Perfect timing too, because I had no idea like what to talk about for it. But I heard that it was poor character quality as well. Like they didn't keep some of the favorite moments, or they kind of strayed too far from the main plot of the game. I haven't seen it. I've put 30 minutes into Borderlands. I've really admired the art style. Didn't finish the game. But they lost all of Borderlands and just threw a title on the movie. That's Borderlands.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's in the same world.
Yeah. I think one thing that people pointed out is that Lilith is supposed to be in the video game, or sorry, in the movie, she's like a mystical, like, who is this person? Like, why is she so good at everything? And at the very end, it's revealed that she's the Phoenix, or whatever the video game calls it. And yet, I think that's revealed in the title card of the first time you meet Lilith in the games. Like it says Lilith, the Phoenix or something. And so they play it up like this big reveal at the end of the movie. And you're like, you should know this. Like this is supposed to be something you knew from the beginning. So that's one falter that they had. I had Uncharted listed. I did watch Uncharted and never played the game. I think it was just a poor ripoff of...
I did both.
You did both. Okay, you have more to say on this. Yeah. So let me get mine out quick.
Go.
I think it was fun, but not well made. I think there was times where I couldn't suspend my disbelief anymore. I think there were like ships flying away and they were crashing into each other in the air, and I was like, okay, I don't know. I don't think I specifically remember the story not making sense, but also I think it was one of those. You can tell me if I'm wrong. If they just didn't adapt the story of the game well.
Yeah, I don't think they adapted the story at all. Now, I've played through the first 3 of the Uncharted games, and I don't remember anything from the games. Granted, this was a while ago. They kept a few characters, and they kept the name. That's basically it. They made the main character go through a different story than what was in the games. It wasn't an adaptation. It was an inspiration. They could have thrown any other name on it, and they could have made any other character in it different, and it would have been its own thing. Like, the only thing they really kept was the main stuff. Now, it was heavily inspired by Uncharted, so that's why they named it, which makes sense. And it was a pretty good movie, I like to think. I also loved some of the callbacks. Like, there is a few season there. Like, you can even meet the main character that plays Nathan Drake in the movie. Like, has a cameo as they're going up. Like, that was really, really cool to the fans of the Uncharted series. But I think Uncharted 2 has an amazing story. It doesn't need the first game all that much. Now, it would help. If they went with Uncharted 2 and took that story, made it into a movie, would have been phenomenal. And it would have been an actual adaptation. But this wasn't an adaptation.
I don't see how they could have started with the second one for the sake of starting the franchise if that was their goal.
Yeah.
So just to introduce the characters, I feel like they really needed to have the first one be the first one. But again, you fumble that, you can't make a second one. So
I think it could have worked if they made the second one and then had a prequel sequel. Like, rather than making the second one, they make the second one. They could have like just had enough flashbacks or whatever in this. Yeah. It could have worked. I think Uncharted 2, I remember playing Uncharted 2 for the first time, and like, this is when the boom of graphics and everything started getting better, and it's like, wow, this game looks really good. And this was the first time I had sat down in bed like, this is the greatest game I have ever played in my life. Yeah. And then I played Skyrim, and then I played this, and then I played that, and Skyrim's actually well before Uncharted 2. But like, that's when the boom of graphics started happening, and I wasn't ready for it, and I'm like, I'm playing a movie right now. But if they made that into Uncharted 2 into the movie, that would have been great. It could have done better, even though it already did great. But
the last one that's come out that I wanted to talk about is Free Guy, which is funny because it's not actually based off of a video game, but it's kind of based off of all the video games, but also mostly GTA, I believe, was its biggest inspiration. But again, it had all the character customizations and microtransactions, whatever. I really love Free Guy. Free Guy is a great movie. And we even did an episode about it, talking about the meaning behind being created and having a purpose. That was one of our first few that I did with Zach. And so go listen to that. I also think that it's a creative to create. I mean, they didn't create a video game, but create a world of a video game that is then adapted. I think that was really great, really fun. And there's no rules. The rules are kind of the concept of video games. They had streamers make cameos in them. And it's just, it wasn't as much of an adaptation as it was just creating a world for your story to play out. And that world is a video game that is so freeing. Like, there's almost no rules. Like, that's something they say right away, is that they can do whatever they want. The sunglasses people, they're the kings of this world, whatever. So yeah, I like Free Guy. It's got a great story, and it's not bound by anything. If it was an adaptation of something, probably wouldn't have been as great. Like, if it was GTA, it doesn't hit the same because those characters aren't self-aware. They had to make something from scratch for it to work.
Yeah. The Free Guy movie also did a ton of research too. Like, they understood some of the game mechanics, and they made sure that like stuff was in the correct spot. They kept the essence of the games in each cameo, but they didn't take away from the movie. Like, it was, I don't know, it was like just genuine video game stuff in the movie. And they just did such a great job, and they made sure it wasn't tied to any single thing.
Yeah,
I loved it.
And I was absolutely their target audience for that movie because they had Ninja and Laserbeam and Jacksepticeye show up, and Ryan Reynolds, and it was so good. And the music was really great too. But yeah, we have a whole episode on that. I think that's all of the A and S tier movie video games that have come out recently. I would love to talk about more in the Discord with other people. I want to list some upcoming ones, and then I want to ask you a wrap-up question. But upcoming, we know already, Minecraft. We'll see how that goes. Iron Lung, again, I mentioned that earlier. That's Markiplier's movie. And I actually Edge of Sleep just came out. Edge of Sleep was an audio drama that Q Code produced with Mark as the main actor, voice actor. I really like the audio drama. The TV show takes a little bit of a turn, cuts some stuff out, but I really liked it in the sense that it was cool to see a little YouTuber, a little creator. Mark's not little at all, stature-wise, but he's only a YouTuber, and he's making prime level videos or movies, shows, prime level shows, and I really like that. But that also, the release of Edge of Sleep also influences Iron Lung. Iron Lung is supposed to come out in theaters. I'm excited to see that. I've seen the playthrough of Iron Lung. I'm excited to see that, see where that goes. It's probably going to be more of a survivalist style, a lot of claustrophobia where he's in a submarine all by himself, trying to figure out what's going on. But I don't know. I'm interested because the actual game doesn't have a lot of story. It's more of an escape, escape the situation. And I won't spoil the ending, but they could insert a lot of story into it that is included from the lore. And I think Mark does that, especially as he's written and produced and directed and all that stuff and starred. He knows he's worked with a video game creator. He knows it's gonna be good. There's no step along the process that makes it worse, I would think. That's my thought. Other future movies on Wikipedia that were listed, Death Stranding, which I don't know how they couldn't use Norman Reedus. It'd be very weird if they didn't use Norman Reedus. There was also talk about Jedi Fallen Order being adapted and not having the actor for Cal Kestis, who played him in the video game, play him in the show. That doesn't make sense to me. So yes, this is kind of the concept of movie characters looking like their actors.
That blew my mind. I played the Death Stranding, and I thought it was wild, and I'm really interested in that.
I would rather call Death Stranding the best meme that I've ever seen. I still laugh at it. It's Norman Reedus and the funky fetus.
It's so true. It's a really hard game to understand. The only thing I know is that, hey, is that the Walking Dead guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they also got what's his face as the antagonist.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen is often a bad guy.
Yeah, it's a highly stacked cast. Weirdly enough,
the most that has come out about the movie is that the director of Death Stranding video game visited A24 and posted about it. A24 usually is the indie film style, where it's not really guaranteed this style. It's more of a production that can allow directors to do what they want with their story. So that's coming up. I'm interested in seeing your reaction for this one. The Ghost of Tsushima is planning on getting a movie.
Ghost of Tsushima is no. That's one I don't want as a movie or a TV show. I love the world of Ghost of Tsushima because it's based off of falling in love with the island. Mm-hmm. It's not falling in love with the character or some of the characters. It's falling in love with the environment and then trying to protect that environment from the Mongols. I don't think it needs it's a complex thing.
Sure. I'll trust you on that. But I'm also reading from Screen Rant that the director of John Wick Chapter 4 is directing The Ghost of Tsushima.
Still, I don't think it needs it. Ghost of Tsushima is perfect. Doesn't need a movie.
Sure. I trust you. I never played it. The last few aren't that big of video games, but they're on the Wikipedia list, and some of them are the Tetris movie was not technically about Tetris, but it was about the creation of Tetris, and people said it was really good. I'm keen on seeing that, but again, when you see Tetris movie, that's not really a video game adaptation. It's telling the story of Tetris. So some of these might be that. Some of them actually have the chance. Legend of Zelda probably is going to be really good. People love the Legend of Zelda video games. The ones that don't make as much sense, Just Dance. Isn't that just a musical? I feel like it's just going to be one of those old high School Musical style where it's like, let's have a dance off.
Yeah. Pitch Perfect, but for dancing.
Yeah. Yeah. Pac-Man. Is Pac-Man the main character and the villains are the ghosts? I don't know. Again, it's just a name at this point.
What was that older movie? Pixels. Do you remember that?
There's Pixels. Yeah, Pixels had Pac-Man, but that was more... I never watched it, but there was... Yeah, Adam Sandler. But that was like an homage to all video games, kind of like Wreck-It Ralph or something.
Or like Free Guy, too.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to watch them if they come out. Poppy Playtime, I know, is popular on YouTube. It's more of a horror one. Talking Tom. He's coughing.
Sorry, Talking Tom.
Talking Tom is supposed to get a movie.
The little squeaky thing that I would talk to as a kid.
Yeah. Talking Tom. I don't know how that's going to work. That's the whole point of that is interacting with the video game as a human.
I'm still dying, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we can't hear you. Maybe I'll put in some sound effects over that.
Please make it attractive. Because I can guarantee you, me borderline throwing up is not attractive.
The last one that I think would do really well as a movie is Portal.
Oh, I think that'd be great.
And Portal is definitely a puzzle game, but I feel like the narrator bot that follows you around, as well as the mystery of the situation and figuring out how to solve a puzzle. Like, you can have puzzles in a movie. It's going to interact differently than a video game, but I still think that something like that would be very cool. And, you'd have the classic, like, hand out the portal and you see it across the room where you shot the orange one or wherever. And, like, that makes sense. But I think it would be... Yeah, pretty cool to see Portal adapted. But that's all I got off of my list. I don't know what the future holds. We're still in the capitalist season of adapting things where everything and anything needs to be adapted. I hear we're getting a Rubik's Cube.
Because it makes money.
Or I hear we're getting a Rubik's Cube movie for some reason. And maybe it's going to be like the Tetris one, where it's about the origin of it. But in all honesty, we don't need everything to be adapted. I don't really care to see The Legend of Zelda put into a movie. Mostly because I don't care about Legend of Zelda that much at this point in time. But again, like you were saying, Ghost of Tsushima, just let it be a video game. Let it be what it is. And that's all it needs to be.
Yeah, I agree. Some of them would work. Like, I think you're gonna ask, "What's the dream adaptation?" Can I answer now?
Let's go straight there. What video game would you like to be adapted? Would be good at adapting? Maybe one that wouldn't be good at adapting, but you just love to see it.
Okay, now this might be controversial. My first thought is Elden Ring, just because I think the story of that needs to be told chronologically rather than through the exploration, because the lore behind it is awesome. And I think they're already working on that, possibly. I'm not sure. But my actual answer is Red Dead Redemption 2 or Red Dead Redemption.
Oh,
both phenomenal games and would work so well in a TV show setting because they're already split up into seasons. Like, it could be an easy 4 or 5 season TV show. And you already go on, they literally call missions. Each mission would be an episode. And you would get, like, the horseback conversation still in that in the TV show. Like, it's just perfect. It is really, really perfect. Now, you'll miss out a lot on some of the world of Red Dead Redemption. Like, some of my favorite moments in the game are just some random encounters, like this one guy who's, this is going to sound horrible, but this one guy who's an incest and tries to kill you. Weirdest interaction ever. You could make that into an episode. There could be tons of filler episodes in Red Dead Redemption, the TV show, and it would still hold its value. But, like, the main story of Red Dead Redemption, perfect for adapting. I would love it. And I think it would be really, really easy. They've already kind of laid it out, but
Yeah.
to whichever, either future director or current director, if any of you are listening to this, please do it.
Yes. I think that would be a great one. Have you seen, I was about to suggest one of them that I think you really like. God of War.
Ooh. Mm-mm. I think that would work really well.
But I was about to look up the up-and-coming Netflix show that has a bunch of, like, each episode. It's like Love, Death, and Robots, where each episode is a short film about a certain video game. I need to find the name of it, but that one is going to have a God of War episode, but that's only one episode. So I don't know that does it justice. It might just give us a glimpse into their world, but go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah. I think God of War would do really, really well in a TV show. I don't know if it's quite built for a TV show, but I think it would be really, really bold. But I think it would do best as a trilogy type thing, or even a Harry Potter type thing, where it's like each thing is a movie, but you have to watch them together. It needs to be. I'm just thinking that it would be hard to tell that story in like 8 or 9 sections. I think it would do best in 3 to 5. In each one, like getting tons and tons of attention. So I don't know if it would be quite a TV show or just a movie.
Now that I'm looking at it, Secret Level is the TV show that's coming out based on many different video games. I don't think it's technically one studio of video games, but these are the ones that they're adapting into one episode shorts. Unreal Tournament, Mega Man, New World Aeternum, Honor of Kings, Concord, Armored Core, Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Sifu, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds 2, Pac-Man, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, and Warhammer 40k. So we already talked about God of War, Pac-Man, Ghost of Tsushima.
I heard Outer Wilds.
Outer Worlds.
Oh, Outer World.
Outer Wilds, isn't that the really beautiful looking?
Oh, it's such a great game.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen clips of it. But yes, Outer Worlds 2, The Outer Worlds 2. But I think that actually will be a nice sampler. Like we can go and watch the God of War, the Ghost of Tsushima, Pac-Man, and see what those adaptations are like, and see what they have. I'm actually interested in seeing those few episodes. So
yeah, I think it'll be good. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, my suggestion, because I don't play many video games, my suggestion for a very goofy adaptation is Subway Surfers.
Oh,
imagine a Subway Surfers movie where it's just a bunch of criminals and anti-heroes who are, there's drama between the surfers, and then they're running away from the cops, and they gotta, the chase scenes are just Subway Surfers. It'd be so good.
I know exactly who would play the cop. Keegan-Michael Key. He would play the cop. He would be the perfect cop.
He'd be put on his fat suit from Wonka. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be perfect. Bonus. Flappy Bird. That as an adaptation. We could do anything. Capitalistic adaptations.
They adapted Angry Birds. I wouldn't be surprised if they could adapt Flappy Bird. I don't know. I feel like it'd be too close to a certain national tragedy. That maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
I don't.
Touche.
Thank you for talking about this. I like talking about this stuff with you. I know your forte is video games, and so I like doing these episodes.
Oh yeah.
With you, so we'll see what more we have to do with video games episodes in the future. But
thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing this, listener. Make sure you follow us on all our socials. Share this with your friends and like and subscribe. Yeah. Until next week, know that you are loved. God bless.
Peace out, brethren. Did you get the sniffle in there?